Thanks, guys. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Danielle Morrison and I'm from the Professional Partners. And thank you all for joining us today. So if you haven't had the opportunity to work with us before at the Professional Partners, we work together with accountants to help them create their own private equity division within their firms. So we work in the alternative asset space, working in recession-proof industries such as childcare, aged care and primary health. So we provide accountants a platform to give their clients the opportunity to look at investments they wouldn't ordinarily get a chance to look at. So following from that, I'd like to introduce our special guest for today, the amazing Amanda Kenafake from Power Tynan, along with our host from the Professional Partners, Mr. Paul Chance. So they'll be talking about strategy and execution. So I'll hand it over to you both.
Thank you, Danny, and welcome everybody. It's good to see a few more faces, which I think, the way we've been running a few of our sessions, we've sort of been doing them. Look at Mr. Rotberg's background. Look at that. So it's actually good to have everyone that we can actually see people's faces, because when you run the webinar, the other stuff we do with the, whatever they call it, Zoom webinar, you don't get to see anybody. Sorry, I just need to, here you go. I've got one of my good firms and friends coming from Singapore. Joe, pal, welcome.
Hi, how are you? Good.
How are you? Good to see you.
Good. Great.
So what we're going to cover today is, we've got about, what is it now? We're going 12:05 Melbourne time. In about 40 minutes, we want to cover off a few things. And I suppose, if anything, it's over the last probably 90 days, I've been chatting to a lot of different accounting firms, and they've been sort of picking my brain to some of the key areas that I used to get involved in when I was running the coaching company GPL back, 20, 25 years ago. And some of the common threads are still there. So I thought one of the key things I wanted to do was chat to Amanda. I know Power Tynan quite well, and I thought, I know Amanda's been doing the different speaking circuits as well. She was with Taryn last week. But I thought it's a great opportunity to talk to, again, a CEO of a firm, not a partner of a firm. We're going to break down a few things there. But at the same time, talk about things like planning, talk about things like what strategy is. And at the end of the day, the most critical thing is execution. I still remember, I'm a little bit older than some, that remembers the Paul Dunn scenarios of failure to implement. He used to call it the old FTI. So again, those sorts of things is what I still see quite a bit with firms, and they don't implement or they don't execute. So we're going to break down quite a few things. And I thought, well, Amanda and the firm she's running out there is the perfect type of firm to start sharing some of those ideas. So to all of you that are joining us, thank you. Amanda, officially welcome.
Thank you.
Officially, do you have a glass of wine?
I'm having a whole bottle. I'm going to put a straw in it and go for
We
it.
make sure that Amanda get her bottle of wine delivered, which was good. I'll have a little sip because I've got a cup of tea here, I've got water and I've got wine. Let's get into this. Now, there's a few things that we'll share as well. We have our chat bar, we have our, what do you call it? Yeah, the chat bar down there. If you want to leave any chats, any questions, please do so. Very interactive. We're recording this as well. So anyone that misses out, or if you want to forward it on to people, the great part is we also launched our Professional Partners Plus TV channel, our YouTube show, I think about 4 weeks ago. So any of the stuff we did in 2020 and all the stuff we're doing in 2021 as well is all being put onto our YouTube channel now. Just look for Professional Partners Plus. Let's start with the role of a CEO. I think, as I suppose I've dealt with a lot of firms over a lot of period of time, we're partners, there's managing partners. Are you okay, Amanda, just to give a little bit of a, again, for those of you that may not know you, a little bit about Power Tynan, a little bit about you, and probably more importantly, what's the role of a CEO? And maybe we can go into a little bit about the structure of that as well, because it's very different to a partner in a partnership.
Yep. So hi, everybody. For those of you who I know, good to see you all again. For those of you I haven't met, hopefully I'll get to meet you all one day in the real world again when we're allowed back out. Yeah, so I guess a little bit about Power Tynan. So Power Tynan's been around for 50-something years, about 53, I think now. It's been a corporate structure for probably the last, I'm going to say 20 years. I've been at Power Tynan nearly 24 years. I'd say nearly 20 years it's been a corporate structure, and has moved away from that corporate model, that partnership model into that corporate model probably that long ago. And I guess that's just been the way the business has wanted to progress. So for many years, we've never just been, I guess, the straight accounting firm. We've always done a lot of other different things and other bits and pieces. So I guess for us, it's always, we went down that corporate track so that there was, and it sounds probably silly when you say it like this, but it was not having to wait for a partners meeting to make decisions, not having to wait for, you know, like everyone could sort of, I guess, depending on where they sat in the business, could make decisions and make things happen a lot faster. So it's quite, I guess, I don't realise it until other new people come into the firm. We are actually quite fast-paced and we make a lot of decisions quite quickly. We don't have to have the committee of 1,000 people to decide whether we should have lunch on a Friday or things like that. So the basically, depending on how big the decision is, I don't have to wait for a board meeting or a manager's meeting or anything like that to have. We just have catch-ups and I go, yep, good idea, let's run with it. So we can move quite quickly, I suppose, and we don't have, like I said, we don't have to have the committee of thousands. So we have a number of service offerings and how we operate. We have a board. We're just at the moment, if anyone wants to put their hand up, looking for an external chair. So we're looking for an external chair. We've got a non-executive director, and then we've got the directors. We've got then myself as CEO, and then underneath that we've got managers of each of the service offerings that we have. Now, the other reason, it sounds really silly, but we call them service offerings, not divisions, because I think divisions is quite divisional and silo, and we really want to deliver that holistic service, so we call it service offerings. Within that, we do the traditional accounting, and like I said, had that for many years. That's the basis of the business. We do and have done for many years different advisory type stuff, and it's really being ramped up at the moment. And I don't know if I'm a bit nervous that James Mason from Mindshop's on this call, because I live and breathe the Mindshop fundamentals and all the stuff to do with, I guess, that advisory space and all the tools that are in that, which is brilliant and helps really push a lot of the stuff that we do in that space. We then have leasing and finance, financial planning, self-managed super fund administration, and I think Paul, you want to talk about it later, but we've also started another part of our business called PT 2.0, and that's our data analytics and system integration business. So basically, the easiest way I can explain it is we can get the right information out of your systems to go to the right people at the right time to help you make right decisions and up-to-date decisions. So that's sort of the basis of where it all sits. So depending on any given day, I've got to understand, you know, leasing and finance, that industry, to the IT industry, to whatever it might be. So that's probably the difference between, I guess, a managing partner.
Actually, no, give me like a Pepsi Max or a Diet Coke, those areas.
Sorry about that, Amanda. Has anyone not muted their lines for us then?
Cool.
I can't actually. There you go. I got one then.
Don't know. Yeah, so that's sort of how we have operated and all the different service offerings that we have. And like I said, yeah, you've got to really, as a CEO, like, I guess, making sure that I'm helping each one of the managers in those service offerings think about what's happening now, where we want to go, and what have we got to do to make sure that those service offerings are all moving forward. So that's, in simple terms, how we're structured, I suppose.
Yeah, good. I will come to PT 2.0, and I will come to a little bit more about that execution side in a minute. You just mentioned your service offerings, which is great, because I think the other part to this as well, when we're doing planning, I've always seen planning as an opportunity for, call it, because we have a calendar year and a financial year, there's two opportunities there to plan out. And did you do anything different with your planning for 2021, or are you going to be doing anything different for as you move into the new financial year, 21-22?
I'd like to say yes, but I don't think so. Basically, because I guess we've always done what do we plan for the, you know, we talk in horizons, I suppose. We go, there's horizon one, what do we need to do to continue doing what we're doing, defend what we've got, and make sure we continue delivering a great service. Then we have horizon two, we sort of go with, okay, what do we need to, you know, jump on some opportunities, what do we need to do in that space, just to, you know, value add, do a little bit more. And then we've got our horizon three, which is the blue ocean, like what else is out there? And that's, you know, something like a PT2 was a blue ocean opportunity probably 3 years ago. So, you know, that we sort of think along those lines, and we've always done that 90-day cycle. So we do build a budget for a 12-month, you know, financial year, but we review things every quarter. We have strategies every quarter. We have check-ins every quarter. We do the SWOTs. We do everything every quarter anyway. So yes and no, I suppose. Like we've had to refine a lot of stuff and maybe tried to either speed certain things up or slow certain things down, but the actual process hasn't probably changed a lot. We've just probably sped up a few things.
Yeah, brilliant. Look, again, I'll break that down because it's good that James is on here, because you talk about horizons and quarterly catch-ups and so on. And I know even when I was working with one of the other firms, the SRJ guys that were fairly involved with the Mind Shop guys, there was a lot of great structural things that came from that, which is brilliant. And I know that, you know, they're just as successful as you guys are, which is fantastic. With regards to your strategy, what's been your main strategy for growth? I know you said 3 years ago, PT 2.0, which, and again, was blue ocean, which is great. So to all of you that are listening, and I know there's a couple of you in the car, which makes it a little bit harder to maybe write things down, this will be recorded as well. So Amanda spoke about some really key things there, which was around the horizons and the blue ocean. But what's been the key strategy for growth? Because I know while you guys are based in Toowoomba, you've got clients everywhere.
I guess we've got a couple of two-pronged approaches for growth. One, because we've got a number of service offerings and we've got a lot of clients across all different service offerings, and we have that value of let's look after our clients, and we want to be their number one person that they go to ask any questions and whatever. And we, you know, whether we can do it ourselves or we refer to other people in our network, and some of those network people are on here today, I see, we will refer different things to that. But one, it's that organic growth. It's making sure that we're actually delivering all we can to our clients. So this will be another plug for Mind Shop. James will be giving me a gold star here. We've just started growth clubs, so like working with our clients on different things around that for them to start working on their business and thinking about that. And coming from that means they have to use different service offerings that we offer, and doing different things within the business as well. We then have things like the PT2 and other things to deliver new services, whatever they might pop up. But usually those new service offerings come from the fact that either we need it ourselves, and we do have a little bit of a philosophy that we're a business ourselves. So if we need it, fair chance other people need it. So use it ourselves, deliver it on ourselves, and then can we roll it out to clients? And nearly, I would say, all of our service offerings have been built from the fact that from a client need. So we've sort of just grown the service offerings from that way. So it sounds really funny, but it's all organic and growing from what the clients are needing and the changes that are happening in the world to help them deliver their business, what they need in their business.
Have you seen more, let's say, from the number of clients increasing, or the number of the client's average fee increasing? Has there been a...
Definitely the increase. Oh, we've had an increase in clients, don't get me wrong, but yeah, definitely the average fee increasing. Like it would have nearly doubled over the last 3 years, our average client per fee, fee per client. Yeah.
Exactly. And I know there's a lot of, I don't know, the marketing stats have been out there for years that obviously it costs you, 8 times, 16 times more to go and pick up one new client than it is to engage with your existing client. So there's always a cost factor there. And I think, over the years, whether it be 10 or 20 years, there's always been whether it's a fear in going to your existing client and working through that. But one of the key things you just mentioned then was that you run it internally. You found that a lot of the times that, you needed it internally, and then you've taken it based on needs. That's probably a good segue to talk about PT, because then you spoke about data analytics. I'm just admitting a few more people in. I had a good chat with Cam Lynch, and we were talking about data, and obviously a man that loves data, and I don't think he's on here, but we'll tag him in later. How important was the research that you did before you looked at something like PT 2.0?
For us, it was really important because, and I'm sure, all the accountants on here will say, we know there's a lot of data in our systems, whether it's our data or our clients' data. There's a lot of information. It's nearly, and big data was always a word that was used for many years. I feel it sort of died down a little bit, because now I think it's more about how do you utilize that data? How do you access the data? What do you need to get out of that? So we were very lucky. Dan Beck, who works in the PT 2.0 world, I've known Dan for many years, and we finally convinced him that Power Tynan was the place to be. So he came across and helped us really, access our data and really be able to allow us to make quick decisions about our business and what we needed to do based on actual information, not just sort of gut feel or what it might. And you still got to go on intuition and gut feel, don't get me wrong, but you kind of have the figures to back it up, and you can make a lot more decisions, or faster decisions and more timely decisions. So we started using a lot of that, and we probably did that in-house for nearly 18 months. And then we sort of started working with a couple of clients who were going, oh, that's pretty cool. Can you do that for us? And then all of a sudden we went, there's a great opportunity to go out there and actually help other accounting firms to be able to do the exact same thing. And like, I have a philosophy, help the industry, that'll help the clients, that'll help everything. Like, I don't really have a, closed, keep the competition away kind of thing. I'm more than happy to share anything that anyone thinks is useful. So yeah, PT2 really started from the fact that we could go to other accountants and help them understand their data to help them improve their business, which helps them improve their service to the clients. So that's the very basics of how PT 2.0 started. But we were just very lucky too that we have a few of the guys there in PT2 have, different skill sets to the accountants in the world as well. So we've got a computer engineer, data analytic specialist, all those sort of things that I have no interest in doing. I'm sure a lot of others don't either as well. But yeah, the information that comes out of that is, amazing, and what you can do to run the business.
And what's been some of the results? So that was 3 years ago. You did it internally, started working with clients. I think you mentioned there, you saw it as a possible opportunity for other accountants to jump on board. What have been the results?
For Power Tynan, or?
Yeah, well, for that division, let's say, and then Power Tynan as a whole.
So I guess from a Power Tynan perspective, so that we could say, hey, it works, we've seen productivity increases, we've, seen increases in our fee value over our client base. Like, you can actually see things, and you can, you're making faster decisions, so things aren't dragging on as long as they might be, that sort of stuff. Things that we've seen in clients of ours that we've done stuff for, we've had, one client, literally we found some incorrect data had been added into their system, and basically I was talking to this director of this business at a Christmas party, and he goes, I reckon you've saved us $1 million this year just by us being able to make the right decisions and seeing where we had wrong information or were acting on different things. So I know I actually said to him, well, we obviously didn't charge you enough for that, but there's a lot of things that come out of that, and we're working with a number of accounting firms now. I would say probably 60 to 70% of PT2's client base is actually accounting firms. And we're now actually starting, and I think this works well, we've helped the accounting firms or consulting firms or even law firms work out their own stuff. And now we're actually starting to help them with their clients and doing stuff with them as well. So yeah, it's sort of all coming around, and it's really just having the right information and make some decisions.
Now, it's probably, I might just delve in a little bit about this. We weren't going to talk about it, but for the firms that are online, can you maybe take us through a bit of how you do that with a client, and what's the data? Because I know we've been chatting to Cam this week. Like you said before, a firm holds so much data, and I know even 3 years ago when we were on that roadshow, we were laughing about the roadshow we were on for Accountants Big Day Out, and it was Power BI. So many people still don't know about Power BI. It's huge. I'm assuming you guys use Power BI.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So maybe are you able to take us through a quick sort of scenario of what that looks in terms of the firms going, right, should I look at this as a strategy moving forward for the new financial year?
So I guess one example of what we've done, we call it the big picture, and we roll it out via the PT 2.0 guys. But basically, we put that over a Xero file, stuck the information in, and we actually use Cam's programmer Tani to be the dashboard for that. You can go in and you can see, profit and balance sheet, cash drivers, cash flows. You can do what if analysis in there, and you don't have to know how to use a spreadsheet. So clients can access it quite readily and you know, see what's going on with their data so that they can actually do health checks on there. You can put, you know, banking covenants in there. Power BI feeds that, so you can bring in other programs. So you're not just stuck with, I've just got my Xero, but I've got, you know, my database is in another system. I don't know, one guy with farming, you know, they bring the weather app in because they need to know what the weather was on that day and all those sort of things. So you can bring live data in and things like that as well. So you can bring it all in and have a bit of a snapshot look. That I think that's the brilliance of it, that you're not spending all your time pulling together this report and then trying to analyze, does that sit over that? The Power BI and the database behind it can pull it all together and suck it all in from all different places so that you can get that one view on things. Like I said, the big picture that we've been working with and the guys have been rolling out, like it works so well with clients of any size, because they just have that one really quick dashboard to look at it and go, everything's all right. There's, you know, it's all green, or there's one red, I've got to focus on that, or whatever it might be. So it just is that everyone's busy. It's that quick look, but you can delve down into it for the detail if you want. So it's really good from an advisory point of view. When you're talking to clients, you bring that one page up, you can spend a whole meeting just talking about that one page. You couple that with doing a SWOT or you know, getting the feel or some diagnostics and some questions that clients might have, and they might be unsure of things. You can actually point them back to the dashboard and go, well, no, this is your debtors amount, so that's not the issue here, or whatever it might be. So you're not having to go and say, oh, I'll have to come back to you to figure out where that problem is. Like a lot of the data's there, so you can actually have a very on time and constructive conversation, I suppose.
I suppose, well, that's the idea of, I suppose, the data being live, because it's pulling to a central location. And then certainly the firms that I've spoken to, yeah, probably since I spoke to Cam, so this week, it's helped their advisory division to go to the next level. Yeah, because
it's just having a structured conversation. It's putting, you know, things around it so that you're actually referring to, this happened today or yesterday. You're not talking about numbers from a month ago or 2 months ago. You can actually, and you can drill down into it and you can see it. So it's very current and forward looking, and that's that advisory conversation to go, how can we, you know, increase this figure or play with this number or whatever it might be. So it definitely helps with having those advisory type conversations.
Yeah, and I think the just to help everyone that's on the line as well, that the conversation I had with the firm this week was, they deal with a lot of medical and dental practices, and they were trying to work out in these times, you know, when things were pretty bad in 2020, the data, because the data doesn't lie, they were able to look at which clinics they should keep open and which clinics they should shut down.
Well, the beauty of it, you can do a lot of benchmarking. We do a lot of benchmarking using that. And yeah, if you've got a network or a group of, you know, like-minded businesses who are happy to work together, you can benchmark those. So we're a part of the Walkaway Island network. I see Sue Ellen's on here. She's a part of that network as well. And we do benchmarking every month. And we bring in conversations to be had around that. So you can go, how do you get your lockup days to be that? Or how do you you've increased your value of clients, or whatever it might be. So you can, you know, learn from each other.
Couldn't agree more. And I think that's a lot of the conversations I've been having over the last few weeks has been similar to that. And people are looking for, how do I create that? Or how do I open my mindset to that? So that's what this was about, people. So it's about, yes, how Power Tynan goes about their thinking, their process, and more importantly, their execution. So let's get on to that. I'm going to just quickly have a look to see if there's any questions. I'm happy for anyone to unmute their lines as well. I want this to be as open and collaborative as possible. So if you've got a question for Amanda, please ask away. James might have one. Sue Ellen might have one.
I hope James doesn't.
Come on, James. Let me have a quick look. Any questions there? Taryn, I'll leave that one about it. All good. And look, I love the fact that you've spoken about service offering managers. Was that the term you used?
Yep.
Yep. So again, so you've broken it down by service offerings, which is again thinking about the client as opposed to the internal procedure.
Yeah.
Which is important, tax manager or whatever we call it nowadays. And I think that's again the opportunity. The idea was to just open up a few thought-provoking ideas. Here's James, mate. You got a question for her? No. Come on. All good, all good. Let's talk about execution. So how do we go about, how does your firm go about executing strategy? And I know you sort of mentioned quarterly meetings and so on, but can we delve a little bit deeper into that, again, to help the firms that are on the line?
Yep, so it probably starts a little bit wider than that, I suppose. So we're big on improvement, on, don't just always do what we've always done. Every time we induct a new person to work with this, we always go, the first thing you should be asking is, why do we do any of this stuff? So that we're always wanting to improve. So if someone can't answer the why do you do it? Why do you do it this way? Then we probably need to look into why we are actually doing it. So we then have innovation groups. So we've got about 4 innovation groups across the firm. So everyone has an opportunity to attend one of these meetings in smaller groups. They happen about every 5 to 6 weeks, and they can put forward any thoughts or ideas, whether they be little or more strategic or larger ideas, through to the management team, so that we can. So it's not just 4 or 5 heads sitting around a table. We've actually got 60 heads that are coming up with how can we do things better within the firm. So it's all about what can we do better? How can we help our clients better? All those sort of things that come through in those conversations. So basically, we've sort of broken our meetings up into 3. We have our board meeting, which is, the longer, bigger term, I guess, strategy, but also what's happening in all the industries that we're part of. Are we, risk compliance? Are we doing all the right things and doing all that? So I call that the boring compliance stuff that we've got to have with the board. We do all that. We then have a strategy meeting once a month, which goes for about 3 hours, which people might go, wow, that's a lot, but we break that down into different things. So at the beginning of a quarter, we'll come up with, okay, what are we going to focus on in these 90 days? And that information will come from these innovation meetings, will come from what we call them our AA meetings, but they're action and accountability meetings, which is our manager meetings. Information will come from that. We do SWOTs every quarter on each service offering, the whole of the business. We do a landscape review. So, looking at things like economic or digital or all the other things that potentially we don't think of every day because it's not our comfort zone. Looking at, different things like our people, our processes, like things like Brexit, is that an opportunity for us? Things like that. So things that you might not think of automatically, we do that once a quarter, that at the beginning of the quarter, set the strategy. We then take it back to the whole team in our weekly meetings, and we do a board wrap up once a month as well. Just basically saying, these are the strategies and projects that we're focusing on this quarter. And we pull different people in to work on those throughout the quarter as well. Update every month with how they're going, because we have those strategy meetings at the 30, 60, 90-day mark, and then, move forward again. So there's a lot more detail in that, obviously, in how we, keep things online and make sure that things are moving forward. But we've got that structure, I suppose, of how the information feeds in, how it's dealt with, and how it comes back out to the rest of the team. So that we, yourself, you get busy, things get lost, where if we're talking about it, we're putting out there, we're accountable to everyone in the business to deliver on these things. They don't kind of get lost because we get busy.
Now, there's a few things there that I wrote down, which I thought was fantastic. And they're probably terms maybe I haven't heard too often within firms. And to be fair, I've been around a lot of them for a long time. So innovation groups was probably the first one. So the ability for you guys to actually do that and bring in your thoughts and ideas and ask team members, I suppose, is pretty cool. So another one is, why do you do it? So ask the question. Again, a great question. Why do we do it? If we don't know the answer, well, why are we doing it sometimes? So again, it's a great one. And I think as funny as it is I have a sip of wine, the AA meetings. So, action and accountability. So, hello, Mr. Locke. So as it always sort of, you've got your action and accountability. And I suppose, when you've got, James is a good example, whether it's my job or other coaching companies, it's about accountability at the end of the day to the actions that we do and what's the results and are we measuring them, what's the data that feeds through, and how do we then share that with the team members. All absolutely brilliant stuff. So really, really, really cool stuff. I had a question there before I go into one thing. Amanda is, let me just quickly go to that. I've got one from Mark here with PT 2.0 or the service offerings. Do you guys do it in-house or outsource?
PT2 stuff, we actually do it all in-house currently. As we get busier, we may have to outsource some of the bits and pieces, I guess, depending. But we are actually looking to grow at the moment. So if you know anyone who likes being in that space, send them our way. But yeah, currently it's all done in-house.
And what about some of your other service offerings that you mentioned? Are they all in-house, or you've got a
so bookkeeping, we've got 3 people in-house, but we also use some bookkeepers over in the Philippines. And accounting, we've got all of our team are client facing, and we have 4 accountants over in India. So out of 60 people, probably about 7 or 8 would be outsourced. The rest are all in-house.
In-house. Okay, brilliant. Any other services that you outsource?
I'm looking at an executive assistant outsourcing at the moment, but I haven't done that yet, but that's about it.
Okay, cool. From a team point of view, because I know, again, you guys are very proactive in the way that you work with the team to, instead of the old, and I know we've still got to measure our productivity and recoverability, and we all do that, but how much time, because you also mentioned this before, and I wrote it down with regards to time spent with the service offering managers, how much time do you actually spend with them, and how do you help them to become more valuable for Power Tynan?
Structured and unstructured. So once a week I have a meeting with each service offering manager just to catch up where things are going. They then also have their, catch ups with their team members. We make sure we do have, we use a program called Everperform, where we track how people are feeling and whether they feel they're being used well within the business, whether their skill sets are being used, whether they're, feeling that we're doing everything as well as we can be. So we have those meetings once a month, but we also catch up once a week just on, are we on target? Does anyone need any help? Because you don't want, 1 or 2 people drowning and everyone else is swanning around and living the dream. So we do make sure that we're all able to, jump in and help as needed. I would say, so I have 8 direct reports to myself. I would have 1 hour meeting with them each week. But in that we make decisions, we're moving forward. So it's sort of the how you're feeling, what do we need to do? Let's move forward, let's make decisions, let's get things happening. So things don't fester, things don't sit around for a long time. We move forward with those. Then we have an hour AA meeting once a week, we have once a month, and that with all the managers so that everyone knows what's going on. So it's not just all coming via me, we all come together and have that conversation with what do we need? How is everyone going? How do we deliver to our clients holistically? If someone's doing something, can other service offerings, jump on board, whatever that might be. Then, like I said, the 3-hour strategy meeting, and that's about it, really, meeting-wise. So it sounds like a lot, but it's most of it is decision making and moving forward with things.
Yeah, cool. It's okay. I'll touch on the bit that, because I know you brushed over it, and not a lot of people may have heard it or understood it as well, with regards to the team, and you spoke about how they're feeling, and you spoke about Everperform. Now I know those guys as well quite well, so maybe if you can give us, because again I think the key thing I wrote down here, you've got 8 direct reports, and the time that you spent with them, again it's about data, and we spoke about the importance of data before, whether it be client data. Now this is grabbing team data. Can you maybe go into a little bit more about that? And again, it's hopefully what I'm trying to get across here, it's the proactiveness that what Power Tynan are doing to understand their team members, to also grow their team members, which then grows the business. Are you okay to go through?
I'm on a video hook up in about 10 minutes.
So I guess in regards to
Good old live Zoom. Sorry about that.
That's all right. How we use Everperform and what we do. Basically, we like, we talk holistic a lot. So we want to look after our clients holistically. And I kind of look at that and go, as a business, we need to look after our team so our team can look after our clients and our clients look after our business. So that's the, I guess, the concept of what we do. So if we're meeting with our team and, you know, we ask about 25 questions rotated over a 5-week period, and it comes around to, you know, do you feel you're being valued? Do you feel you know what you're doing? Can you refocus quickly? Are you increasing in your, you know, your skill set? All those sort of different questions. And if you get the pulse of that, so you can see hopefully that's trending upwards, you're having those conversations with people, you actually see that reflected in the, you know, the numbers, in that there's less write-offs or their productivity is increasing. If they're having a bad day or a bad week, it is only a bad day and a bad week. It doesn't turn into a bad 3-month period because no one's talked to them or dealt with it. It's actually, quite quick, if that makes sense. So that's how we use it, as a way to really, I guess, look at a person from all different ways, and having that conversation with them. They can go in and have their reflection on how they're feeling and what's going on. And yeah, it helps us run the business in the way that we can make sure our team's coming along with us.
Yeah. And whether it's an Ever Perform or whether it's another, I can remember having the conversation with Andrew Vanderbeek, another good friend, and he uses a different platform. But one of the key things that he talks about is, and I'll ask you this question as well, but one of the things he talks about is trying to capture that sooner before it becomes a problem.
Yeah. It's trying to be proactive. It's trying to go, if you feel you're not being utilised well, and I've done this actually with another accounting firm. I did a strategy session for them, and I actually ran the 25 questions, did it all. And I actually went to the partner before the strategy meeting. I went, you need to go have a conversation with these 3 people because they're not feeling valued. They don't think their skills are being utilised. They can't refocus. They don't like this. Afterwards, the partner actually came back to me and went, thank you so much. 2 of them were ready to walk. Like, that saved them actually, because they suddenly went, oh, so you're going to listen to me now. So a little bit of that is just to make sure that we've got them. Yeah, we're thinking about the people, because the people of our firm, you know, our team members, they're the biggest asset we've got. And I guess it's a nothing thing, but I think about terminology a lot. Like, I will not let anyone in Power Tynan call anyone a staff member. Like, they're a team member. Service offerings, things like that. So I think terminology means a lot. So I think you got to consider how you talk about things and how you do things as well.
Agree. Terminology, you know, is so important, because it's and sometimes how you view things is different to how they view things. So having the ability. What's your take on the ability for? As I know, there's programs out there as well that the feedback can be anonymous.
I kind of see that as pointless, because if you don't know who it is, how do you help them? If they want to be anonymous and not put their name to it, do they actually want to move forward? Do they want help with it? So we don't do anonymous. It's you put your name to it.
Yeah, and then you can.
And I think to do that, you've got to be trusted that, you know, you're not going to be, you know, ostracized or kicked out because you've said something. So there's a lot of trust that goes with that. But that's what we've built over time as well. And I think the biggest thing, I had this conversation with someone about a similar program to Everperform, and they said, I just can't get our team members to fill stuff in. And I said, well, what do you do with it when they do fill the information in? They're like, oh, we have a look at it. And I'm like, well, do you do anything with it? And they're like, oh, no. And I'm like, well, why would they keep filling it in? So I think that's that trust and being able to go, well, if you're letting us know something's wrong or something's going well, that you're actually doing something with that information, because otherwise, why are they going to be bothered to tell you if you're not going to do anything with it?
Yeah, it's a good point. And it's just as much important to have the conversation when people are feeling really well. And if they're infectious, people often know. We've got Miss Holman on the line who's always feeling amazing, and it's you were drawn to that. What are you doing? What are you taking that is making you feel like that? And you want to find out if you can then replicate that 10 times over. Why wouldn't you want to build a team like that?
I was going to say, if that's a question for Tara, and I don't want to know.
It's all good.
No, exactly agree. Like, if you can. And we've seen it in our results. We actually had an 18% increase in productivity after we introduced Everperform about 3-4 years ago, just because we jumped on things faster and we had conversations with team members, so they were able to sort their whatever it might be out, so that we could actually move forward.
I think some of the key things, again, what you don't know, but it's fair to say, and I know I've got mates, we've all been through our own personal shit. Sorry for swearing, but you don't know what's going on in people's personal lives. And when you maybe care, take an interest, it's a funny thing how that trust factor can actually change for you, can actually work for you to your advantage. So really, really important. I'm going to quickly open up the questions. I'm going to look. I've got one last question to ask, knowing it's going 12:43 Vic time. Can I go to my chat share? We can stop Taryn Holman and Danny talking to each other. No, I'm joking. Supplements. We're talking supplements. It's all good. Well,
you did ask why she's so happy all the time and positive. So that was her response.
True. I've had mine. I've had the email. Is it Juice Plus? I think it's called. I've got one last question for you. And if anyone wants to unmute their lines and ask Amanda a question, please do so, because I'd like this to be as collaborative as possible. Anyone want to unmute? Rob's was an interesting one last time. No? Okay. One last question for me. What does the next 12 months or 3 years look like for Power Tynan? You guys, I see you guys as, and I know as a part of your Walker Whalen group, it's a very strong group as well. And Sue Ellen's here, and I've had a lot of, I've done a lot of work with the SRJ guys as well, which is awesome. What's next for you guys?
It's probably a hard one to answer, but what we're continuing obviously to do what we've always done, but probably really expand more and delve deeper into our clients, really wanting to help them with that, them achieving their goals and that sort of stuff. So it's probably just delving deeper and being more involved with our clients. I've just also done a bit of a deal, for want of a better word, with our local university here, USQ, where we've restructured our scholarship program. So we've got a really great graduate program here. We get the children from grade 12, so 17-year-olds, coming via us. We've built a program that's so well appreciated, I suppose, by the university, that we've been able to get rid of 8 subjects that they need to do off their degree based on their work experience here, which then has allowed me to add what we would normally pay for someone to go into university and do that against those 8 subjects, to bring in other more. So we're trying to build more well-rounded advisors to be able to offer more in-depth, I guess, advisory solutions to all of our clients. So we can build in things like the Mindshot program or other, I guess, what is classified as soft skills, and they're not just using the technical skills, because I believe the future of accounting, it's not going to be on how to calculate a number. The systems do that. It's being able to understand what that means for the clients and what they need to do to use that information and understand that data and the reports that are coming out of that. So that's really probably our main focus in some way, shape or form, depending on where the data is coming from, whether it's soft data, numerical data, whatever it is, but pulling it all together and being able to really help a client move forward from that space. Beautiful.
Well said. And again, great opportunity for everyone listening, that we're, as ridiculous as it sounds, we're coming to the end of March, and planning for the new financial year. If these are the sorts of things that you want to start looking into and setting some better planning, you've been shared a number of different golden nuggets over the last 45 minutes. So Amanda Kenafake, thank you very much for joining us. I don't know if there's any other questions. If anyone wants to ask a question before we finally say goodbye. I'll take silence.
Quiet audience, Paul Dance.
It's good. Thank you, Amanda.
All right. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Joining us, everyone.
Have a wonderful day and a wonderful weekend ahead. Ciao.